I said, plug me in. I got stuff to talk about, damn it. I'll crawl out of my earbuds once a week to give you a show. That's what I do, folks. I do this show for the common man, for the people in despair. I bring this show into the world and I sell it everywhere. The simple truth lies waiting here, folks, for all of you to share. Hold on, I will take you there.
Hey, what's happening? Mike Schmidt, 40-Year-Old Boy Podcast. It is Wednesday. It is late. It is evening. And this is what happens when I'm left to my own devices, folks, because, as you can probably tell, I am on my phone again, doing the recording. Now, a lot of you people have written me and you've been like, dude, how do you do this on your phone? Do you have some sort of app? Is there some sort of download? Is there something happening there that we don't know about? Are you a magic man? Are you haunted? Well, certainly yes to the last two. I am a magic man and I am haunted. But man, this is just my phone. This is my iPhone 5 and it's the voice memos. And the way it works is I just record. I wind up talking, and then I email the file to our friend Lily Von Stupp, who is the producer of this show, and then she puts them all in Audacity and edits them and makes them work. I don't know. You'd have to ask her what magic she does on her end. All I do is fucking talk into the phone and try to make it work the best that I possibly can. And now I'm sitting here, and it's, again, last week we came to you live from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, near Milwaukee, Wisconsin. But now we are coming to you live from California. Again, I'm in the big purple chair. I'm in the king chair, sitting here, and I left my TV on as it's distracting me. I should turn it off. Why would I have the TV on? Well, I mean, it's not on like where there's a program, but there's a. Why is it shutting off in 2 minutes? Hold on, just turn it off. There you go. I don't know if you guys have heard that little tick noise. Tick. It dawns on me that as I record these shows on the phone, I wind up giving myself all of this leeway to just tell you that I'm recording on the phone and where I am and what I'm doing, because I kind of comment about what's going on in the moment. And that's, I don't know if that's counterproductive. I spent a lot of time trying to think about what this show is and if it's offending you guys or bothering you, that I wind up just kind of telling you what's happening while it's happening. And it's just weird. I don't, because again, I think of other shows and they're entertainment shows, and they have scripts and they kind of just, they're comedy and they have other people, they bounce stuff off of people. But with me, it's just kind of talking. And this is a lot of navel gazing for this early in the fucking program, and I get that. What I should have done is just plowed through. And this is my plan for this week. Okay, I'm not going to get distracted, and I'm not going to get caught in a loop, and I'm not going to do those things. I think, as a change of pace this week, first of all, I'm going to pump my peas directly into the microphone. As a change of pace, I think I'm just going to talk about something rather than kind of dance all over the place. But now, as it dawns on me, there is something I do want to tell you. Because all right, here's the thing. I was in Wisconsin last week, and I was with my beautiful girlfriend Jill, and I was just talking to her today, and I was like, I don't know kind of what to do, because I just kind of came home and I went to work, and there are other things obviously that Public Enemy, I know, don't yell, there are things I could go into and talk about, and I should. So I think and so she said to me, she goes, well, there is something you've never really talked about. And I said, what is it? And I'll get to it in just a second. I will tell you what she said. See how shitty that is? I should have just kind of done it, because my plan was to just plow ahead and talk. But I will tell you, so wait, let's get back to the technical thing really quick. People asked about the phone. It's just me talking into the phone, but I don't know if I covered this last week or not. I talk in like 20-minute chunks, on the phone. The most I did was I think I did a 24-minute chunk once, and I just mailed them to Lily, and she takes care of it. Well, last week I got to talking, and I didn't really want to stop, so I talked, and I did a 56-minute chunk. Like I just went ahead and talked downhill in the show last week for 56 minutes, and then I went to email it to Lily, and my phone wouldn't let me do it because it was too big, which I was fucking boned, because I was at Jill's. Luckily, I had brought my laptop because I knew she'd be working, and so when she was working, I would have to record, and I was going to try to work on my laptop and fix my photo thing and all that bullshit. I told you about that fucking couple of weeks ago. So if I didn't have my laptop, that would have been an hour of the show that would have been trapped in my phone, and I wouldn't have been able to get it to Lily, and I would have had to take it over or record something different. I don't know. I get no fucking idea. But luckily, what I was able to do, even with the bad hard drive on my laptop, I was able to plug in my phone and then transfer the 56-minute voice memo into my computer and then send it to her using my using Hightail, which is, that's the cloud or whatever the fuck, the thing that I pay every month to host my links. When you buy stuff, like the download stuff, that's where it comes from, is Hightail, and then you download. It's like Dropbox. So, but I mean, dude, I panicked at first because I recorded 56 minutes, and that was kind of the home stretch of the show, and I was excited. And then I couldn't get it off my phone. And I tried to email it, because I have like 4 different email accounts on my phone. I tried to email it from all of them thinking it was them, but it wasn't. It was just the size of the file. So then I actually downloaded the Hightail app to my phone thinking that would be fine. Nope, nah, that's fucking completely hard to use and only could send music. I don't know. I couldn't fucking figure it out. But as we all know, I was able to get Lily the chunk of show, and everything was completed last week, and everybody was happy. Right? You guys are happy, right? Tell me you're happy. Tell me you're happy. Validate me. I'm yelling in my apartment. So then today, this week, I contacted Lily and I was like, "Are you going to be able to do the show?" Because Lily is, she's got a bunch of stuff going on, and she does not want me to go into her life, and so I won't. But it's health stuff and everything else. So I contacted her and I'm like, "Hey, do you think you'll be ready to do a show this week? If not, I guess I could do a phone thing again." And she wrote me, and she was laid up and sick and contagious sick, and said, if you can do the phone thing, that's probably going to be for the best. So, hey, guess what? Here we are. So I knew this last night, Tuesday, and I was going to record last night, Tuesday, and then I had stuff to do, wound up running around. Sorry, I'm yawning. And then I put it off to today, which is Wednesday, which is the normal record day. And then I went to the gym, and then I ran around and I did errands. And so bottom line is, when left to my own devices, when I don't have to go meet Lily, and it's just me being able to record my own deal, guess what happens? It's fucking 9 o'clock at night. And so I'm expecting a text from Lily any moment going, "Hey, where are the chunks of the show that I'm supposed to put together?" Because she probably thought that she'd be done with it quicker, or at least on time. And here I am procrastinating and taking my time because I had other stuff to do. Look, folks, I had to go to a bank. I had to go to a store, and then I had to go to a store bank, and then I had to go to a bank store. That's how I run my life. I do all those things. I was supposed to go to the dry cleaner, didn't. There's also, believe me, I could probably list for you the things that I didn't do more than things that I did do. But I did get a lot of stuff done that I needed to get done, and it's just 2015, man. We got to shape it up. We got to shake it off. Shake it off, shake it off. How great is that song, by the way? Can we talk about that for just a second? 47-year-old man, and that Taylor Swift song comes on, and I blare it in my car. And you know what's great? I love that song, but there is one part of it that's just fucking terrible. It's like, and so if you told me, if you're like, "I hate that song because of this part," I would say, okay, I understand that. I don't think you should judge an entire song on one part, but the part is so bad that I can understand why you wouldn't want to listen to the song, because it's catchy as hell, and it's a great song, but the part where she says, there's a breakdown, and Taylor Swift is like, "Instead of hanging out with the dirty, dirty liars and all the cheats of the world, you could have been getting down to this sick beat." And then she goes into like a cheerleader thing, because my boyfriend bought his ex-girlfriend, or what the fuck. And that part is great, but the little run where she's like, "The dirty, dirty liars and the cheats in the world, this sick beat," it's terrible. I mean, it's just. It's so white, and it just drives the song into the ground. Everything grinds to a halt right at that moment, and it's redeemed by the cheerleader thing, the little cheerleader chant that sounds like Mickey, and the drums sound like Mickey. The sick beat, that sick beat you're bragging about, Taylor Swift. You might want to call Tony Basil and apologize to her, because she came up with that sick beat back in fucking 1981. With "Oh Mickey," right? It was I was going to say "Oh Taylor." Jesus Christ, I almost said "Oh Taylor." "Oh Taylor, you're so fine, you blow my mind, you stole that beat." That sick beat. And by the way, I'm a little fried right now because I watched Totally 80s today on VH1, and I saw it was on, and I recorded it. Dude, I recorded 80s videos just because I'm like, yay, I'm going to be 12 again. And 12? No, 13. And 14. 13? 14. Whatever the fuck. I recorded it, and it just dawned on me, and it should dawn on all of you at this point. You're all happy with your lives. I think I'm doing well. Certainly now I'm in love with my girlfriend, and I think that I'm making some improvements in my life and moving forward. And I have a lot of things scheduled to where I think I'm going to be getting to do the things that I'm supposed to be doing coming up here in the future. And you guys probably are happy. You've made maybe 2015 resolutions, and you've decided what you're going to do with your life, and things are changing for the better, and you're happy, and everybody's excited. And I'm here to tell you, look into a mirror right now. Go look into a mirror and realize that you will never be as cool as David Bowie. Doesn't that hit you where you live? I watched a couple of David Bowie things. I saw the video for Modern Love where he's on stage, and then I saw Ashes to Ashes, and then I saw this old. He was on Saturday Night Live in like 1980 with Klaus Nomi, and he did "The Man Who Sold the World" and a couple other songs, and he just, you'll never be as cool as David Bowie ever, and that's rough to deal with, right? Look, I didn't live my life thinking that I would ever be as cool as David Bowie, and I guess I'm not disappointed that I'm not as cool as David Bowie, but just to know that that level of cool exists out there and you will never be able to breathe its rarefied air, I'm going to say disappointing is that? And again, I didn't aspire to be the coolest guy in the world. But it is something to know that you will never be the coolest guy in the world. That's kind of a weird compromise in your brain where you got to say, you know what, I will never be the coolest guy in the world. As long as David Bowie exists, as long as he's alive, as long as he's staring at me with one blue eye and one green eye, I will never be the coolest guy in the world because David Bowie is perched on the throne. And look, this isn't to say everything David Bowie has done has been brilliant, all right? Go watch the Dancing in the Streets video with Mick Jagger and realize that even the coolest guy in the world makes a misstep every once in a while. But that's because the third coolest guy in the world talks him into doing it. I think that's why. And by the way, I'm saying Mick Jagger at the time of the video was the third coolest guy in the world. He is no longer the third coolest guy in the world. However, David Bowie still has not been toppled from his throne as the coolest guy in the world. I'll be bringing out my pound for pound coolest guy in the world rankings as soon as I possibly can. I got to start 2015 off right by ranking coolest people in the world pound for pound, right? Right. And that's actually, it's interesting that David Bowie would top the pound for pound coolest guy in the world chart because what's he weigh, 9 pounds? That guy's a slip. That guy's like a postage stamp in a fucking awesome suit. And he's banging Iman, or is he still? I don't know if he's married to Iman anymore. I don't know. Who knows? Doesn't matter. He's still the coolest guy in the world. So I said that I wasn't going to do this, and I just did it. I spun off a little bit there. Oh, well, here's the thing I was going to tell you about. I'll tell you this real fast. Oh, Jesus Christ. So last week, like I said, I came to you from Wisconsin, and then the rest of the week I was with Jill and her family. We had Christmas. I told you all those things last week, and then I was there for New Year's. Now, Jill and I had a true 47-year-old guy's New Year's. She and I slept on the couch. That was it. You always hear those weird cliche things about, oh, I don't want to go out, or it's amateur night, and well, I never really like to go out on New Year's. It's just not my thing. 'Cause I don't drink, and I don't need to be out there with people yelling. And all I want to do now at this point in my life is talk to you guys and hold Jill. That's it. That's really my entire life. And I will be honest with you, if that's all I do, talking to you guys is going to get shorter and shorter because probably telling you, well, you know what I did this week? I held Jill. That's what I did. Unless I start getting really descriptive and then you guys are going to tune me out quickly, which you probably, and I don't blame you if you haven't already. But New Year's Eve, we were at her house and we were in the lights of the Christmas tree and just sitting on the couch and she fell asleep. And we flipped on like the countdowns periodically. We ate crackers. I mean, it was such an old person's thing. First of all, we went shopping. We went to the store and I bought all the stuff that I had when I was a little kid. I bought herring and like I said, she bought French onion dip and we bought all of these. And it's funny. She actually has a picture. I'm going to try to get her to put it. Maybe she'll put it in the Joker's page. We went shopping on New Year's Eve and we went to a store called Woodman's out there, which is just, it's like if Costco and Trader Joe's had a baby. I mean, it's just gigantic. It is huge, sprawling. It's like a fucking airplane hangar filled with discount food. And so we went to Woodman's, and as we're walking around, we bought like Home Run Inn pizzas, and we bought chips, and we bought fucking Ben & Jerry's ice cream. And the funny thing is, this is December 31st. This is New Year's Eve. I'm leaving on January 2nd. And we still had a fridge full of meatballs and turkey and food from the week. Like there was no way we were going to get to this. We still have a drawer filled with like 15 bags of different chips. Because whenever we see weird chips or weird candy or whatever, we fucking buy it. And then we eat one piece of it and then we laugh heartily and then we stuff it into a cabinet. It's the dumbest thing in the world, but we do it. So New Year's Eve, we went to this Woodman's and we walked around shopping, looking for stuff. And I have to, I'm going to make her post the picture because it's just, it's the shopping cart of two 12-year-olds, but it's, I'm 47 and she's young. I don't want to get into it. Well, I think you can go to her page and see how old she is on Facebook if you want to. I don't care. She's younger than me, but but the shopping cart is just, it is like two 12-year-olds were set loose with their mom's credit card because it is, it's fucking chocolate syrup and ice cream and chips and frozen food and herring and crackers and chicken and a biscuit and oh my Christ, dude. And she actually took a photo of it because she just thought it was so ludicrous that we had bought all of that stuff and ketchup. Oh, just fucking ridiculous. So we bought all that stuff and then we came home and I don't think we ate any of it. We put it all away and then we were on the couch. We were watching Forensic Files all night and Snapped and Fatal Vows, and she fell asleep. And then we flipped on one of the countdown shows, and I got to watch Fergie. And as she yelled from the stage, Fergie can belt, dude. I don't give a fuck what you say. If you want to argue with me, that's fine. But Fergie can goddamn belt. And then I watched Pitbull fall down at some point, and I watched Ryan Seacrest. And dudes, let me ask you this: why the fuck is Jenny McCarthy involved in anything anymore? I understand she's married to Donnie Wahlberg, and I guess there are people out there who still find her interesting and think she's great. Good for you. I'm glad you enjoy her and what she does. But you're wrong. You're absolutely wrong because she's a fucking whiff, and she's anti-vaccination and she tries to be politically controversial. And I don't know if she even tries to be. Like, here's the thing. I don't know her whole story. Like, she had a kid, and then the kid was like borderline autistic, and then maybe it was because of vaccinations, she said, or she said, don't vaccinate your kids because my kid's autistic and he might be getting autism from vaccines. I'm going to be woefully under-informed here as I take her on, but I know she was anti-vaccination. And the thing that makes me laugh is that anybody in the world who has spent any time in the grotto at the Playboy Mansion being anti-vaccination is ludicrous. Are you fucking kidding me? There are fucking germs with hats on in the fucking grotto at the Playboy Mansion. There's literally, if you go in there, you ever see like those scrubbing bubbles commercials? There are germs that look like that in the grotto. They're actually fencing. They have like a full on. You ever see the end of Blazing Saddles when like the Western fight plunges into the other fucking scene where they're having the Busby Berkeley musical? That's what the germs are doing in the fucking grotto at the Playboy Mansion. And Jenny McCarthy was in there, blowing Japanese businessmen or whatever the fuck she was doing when she was the Playmate of the Year. And she's going to be anti-vaccinating your kid. Dude, if anything, you should be giving your kid, they should be vaccinating him with fucking shotguns. Like shooting buckshot of fucking medicine into him to keep him from getting the diseases you caught at the goddamn Playboy Mansion when you were on your knees earning your place in show business. What the fuck? So she's on this goddamn New Year's show and she's down there with Donnie Wahlberg and they're making out and then she's interviewing people and she's trying to be funny and it's so funny. She's got a radio show too on XM and it's Dirty Sexy Funny with Jenny McCarthy. And I guess she has a personality, I suppose. And look, by the way, if she ever contacted me and said, "Hey, you've got to be on my show," I would be on it immediately. Let's not try to pretend I'm not a whore, okay? I would kill right now to be diving into a pool of germs in the grotto at the fucking Playboy Mansion if I thought it would advance my career because I'm talking to you from a king chair on a goddamn handheld phone. So anything right now, this is what it's gotten to. I used to have a guy who came to me with equipment and he would record me. And then I started to work with an actual radio producer, a woman who's got a background in radio production and has her own professional equipment. And now I'm sitting in a giant purple chair and talking to you in my goddamn phone. I mean, I'm not exactly going forwards. Can we agree with that? I think I am clearly heading backwards at this point. So if Jenny McCarthy threw me a germ-soaked lifeline from the grotto in the Playboy Mansion and offered to reel me the fuck in, I would be there and I'd be like, you know what? Give your kids measles. I'm in. Hi, I'm Mike Schmidt. I don't give a fuck. If it meant a job for me and it meant me going on and everything being okay, because look, again, I've said it before and I'll say it again, and I don't mean this in a mean way, and I certainly hope you won't take it poorly. I don't give a fuck about your kids. I just don't. So whenever I hear about a drought and they're like, "Oh my God, we got to save water for my kids." Again, drought. I bought bottles of water today. Why are they still selling it if there's a drought? I turn on my sink and water comes out. I turn on my shower. Hey, guess what? I can take a shower. I don't see a drought. Even though, look, I'm teasing. I know there's a drought. Okay, relax, relax. But yeah, man, if Jenny McCarthy called me, because I mean I'm not in any position to turn anything down at this point. I deliver ribs and I'm recording shows on a phone. I mean, I am not in show business at all, at all. The closest I am to show business is the fact that I pay my fucking satellite bill every month. That keeps me tenuously connected to the business. And I'm invited to a monthly poker game with guys who are actually in the business. There you go. That's it. That's my tenuous connection to show business. Otherwise, I'm in a 2006 vehicle delivering people fucking coleslaw and sporks and then once a week talking into my phone in my own living room. I'm nobody. I am fucking nobody. Holy God. But sometimes it's okay to be nobody, right? Nope, never. Don't ever settle for being nobody, folks. As a nobody, I can tell you, it is no fun. Don't be nobody, be somebody. Or just be yourself. Be yourself. Be aggressive. Be aggressive. That's what I'll say. Hold on, I gotta check the chunk. Where's the chunk? We're at 20 minutes. You know what, I will tell you this. This is where we're breaking up. I'm gonna send this chunk to Lily now, and then I'm gonna jump back in. Bye. Hi. Chunk sent. We checked the chunk and it was sent. And now we're starting on a new chunk. Look at us embarking on a new chunk together. Hands held together as we go ahead like Hands Across America, like that guy Ken, whatever the fuck his name is, who's dead. Ken Kercheval. I think Ken Kercheval. That's my guess. Off the top of my head, if Ken Kercheval is responsible for Hands Across America, actually, no, Ken Kercheval is an actor from Dallas. Fuck. God damn it. I was all excited about the fact that I pulled Ken Kercheval, and now he's an actor from, and it might even be Steve Kercheval. No, it's Ken Kercheval, I think. He was from Dallas. Whatever. No, didn't I say in the beginning that I wasn't going to do this? Didn't I say in the beginning I was going to plod forward and just do this? And yet here we are discussing actors from Dallas. And we haven't even gotten to the very important Mary Crosby. She shot JR. Spoiler alert. God damn it. Sorry. So, yeah, again, if Jenny McCarthy wanted to save me from this morass, I would do it immediately. I wouldn't care. I would travel with Jenny McCarthy in an anti-vaccination vehicle, like an anti-vaccination mobile, like a big, you know what it would be? It would be like the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile, but it would be shaped like a fucking syringe and a needle. And we would drive to doctors' offices, and I would burst in and knock the vaccinating needles out of their hands. If it meant a career for me, if Jenny McCarthy saved me from this fucking pit, then I would say, you know what, I am in, absolutely. I just moved around. Did you hear that? I don't know if you guys could hear that creaking of the chair and the snapping of the knees. You know what, you really could. How weird is that? Last week I was like, did you hear my knees when I stood up? And then I listened back. You did. You absolutely heard my knees. Oh, that was fucking strange. I'm an old man. Went to the gym today. I was just lurking, and there's a new trainer at my gym. He's this Russian dude who doesn't talk. Oh, that's just. I don't know if he thinks he's intimidating people. It's like, dude, you're a, and he only trains one woman. And she was like touching his chest today while she was on the treadmill. Me and John were fucking making fun of him. It was ridiculous. Goddamn Russians. All right, so I don't know why I'm mad at Russians. Not all Russians. This dude. So I can't buttonhole all Russians. I can't pigeonhole all Russians for this guy. I can't hole all Russians. Any hole, buttons or pigeons. Whatever hole you want, a button or a pigeon. I can't do that to a Russian guy. I was going to just plod through, and yet here we are. We find ourselves spinning around, spinning me around. All right, so we spent New Year's Eve on the couch. It was fantastic. I was just watching. We would just turn it on occasionally, and we found out we fit perfectly on the couch together. Like I was sitting on the couch and she was laying next to me and she had her legs across like my lap. But then I found out that I could actually lay behind her and like put my arm around her waist. And I mean, I don't know, I'm probably going into too much detail here, but it was just awesome. I mean, we were just close and together on the couch and it was exactly the way I wanted to bring in 2015. It was fantastic. Now I'll tell you this. Earlier that day, on New Year's Eve, before we went to Woodman's and had the buying orgy of groceries, Jill was on Facebook and she was like, "Oh, my friend is taking my friend Kurt is taking the plunge." I said, "What are you talking about?" She said, "My friend Kurt." Well, hold on, I'm sorry, I just got freaked out. I looked at the phone Whoa, dudes. All right, sorry. I wasn't sure I was talking into the right side. I thought I was talking to the microphone but the screen, like the actual, like the video thing was upside down. So I thought I had the phone upside down, but then when I tipped the phone, the whole thing spun back around. I guess when I shifted in the chair, I tilted my hand and it made the screen move. You don't care. I don't know why I'm telling you. You gotta write me and tell me if these little tidbits where I get distracted by anything that's fucking going on, where I'm just like, ooh, look, a butterfly. I mean, does that take away from the enjoyment of the show? Would you rather I just plodded forward and just talked and had a narrative, or is it okay to just kind of cast a net and try to grab whatever the fuck goes by? I don't know, man. I don't know. So weird. But I mean, that's what I've done for 7 years. But then I've always wound up going into a thing, and you've stuck around. Some of you. Some of you have bailed and written me and told me why. Although I don't know why I'm addressing you now, because you're obviously not here anymore. If you bailed and wrote me an email to tell me you were bailing, right? There's no way you'd sneakily listen after telling me you were vacating the premises. So she said my friend Kurt is taking the plunge. And I thought that was old school, like he was getting married on the 1st of January. And I'm like, what is that? What do you mean? No. And she said, no, look, her friend Kurt and his wife/girlfriend or whatever, they were going to do the polar bear plunge in Jill's hometown because she lives on the water. She lives right by Lake Michigan. And she goes, yeah, they're going tomorrow. And I said, well, I want to do that. She goes, you would do that? I go, fuck yeah, I would do that. We're doing it. And she goes, well, I've always wanted to do it, but I've never done it. I go, oh my God, what, you've always wanted to do it? Then we're in. We absolutely have to do it. And she said, honey, you'll do that with me? And I said, yes, I will do it in a fucking heartbeat. I go, look, if you're in, I'm in. Absolutely. She goes, well, I've wanted to do that for so long, and I'm like, well, then we're doing it. And she goes, well, I've gone down there before and I've seen it happen, but I've always thought about doing it, but I just never. And I go, fuck it, I don't even want to stop talking. We're just doing it right now. Can we agree that we're doing it? She goes, yeah, we'll do that tomorrow. So I said, okay. And then she went back onto Facebook, and I was sitting there watching TV, and in my head, I'm like, what the fuck did you just commit to do? You just committed to jump into an ice cold lake? Because I will tell you this. Right now, the Midwest is seized by temperatures that are ridiculous. Like the wind chills are minus 30. But it was cold when I was there. I mean, it was like 20 degrees and a wind chill of like -5. I mean, right now it's fucking 1 degree with a wind chill of -30. So it's much colder. But still, it was super cold when I was there. Stop saying super. God damn it. Thank you, Lewis. So, yeah, I just, I sat there and in my head, I'm like, wait a minute. Is this going to be okay? And I do this a lot. Like, I'll commit to doing something. I'm like, yeah, fuck it, I'm doing it. And then I'll sit there and I'll go, why the fuck did you just say you would do that? I mean, that just seems like ridiculous, right? Because I've never, but I will tell you this, I didn't fear the polar bear plunge because there's a plunge thing. When I used to be in a gym at Bally's, they had like a plunge pool, like an ice bath. But there was no ice in it, just an ice. It was freezing. But it was like 40 degrees. So I would go in the steam room, and I would get all sweated up, and then I would climb into the fucking 40-degree ice bath, and then I would get into the hot tub. And then I would just rotate. This is after I worked out, so I would do it the whole fucking time, and I loved it. I love extremes, as Billy Joel will tell you. I like really cold or really hot, but I mean, I'd prefer really hot. But if I know there's really hot waiting for me, I'll be happy to jump into really cold. So I didn't really fear it, but then as I started to think about it, I'm like, well, this is totally different, dude. You're jumping into a lake and you know what the fuck that's going to be. And so I said, well, I get to just jump in off the pier. She goes, no, unfortunately, nobody jumps in off the pier. Everybody gets on the shore and then they have to run into the lake. So, the plunge is different, man. If you just jump in, you're just in. You're fucking in and then you can get the fuck out. But running in, that means you got to run and it's like, you're cold at your ankles and your calves and your knees and your thighs and your balls and your stomach. It's just, you're cold in levels instead of just immersing yourself in. And you know what? So that's bullshit calling it a plunge, because a plunge would mean that I just fucking jumped in. This is more of a polar bear jog. That's what it is. That's a polar bear jogging into the fucking surf and trying not to die. A polar bear plunge, you just jump the fuck in and get out. So I was excited to do it, but at the same time I was a little freaked out by it. So she goes on Facebook and she just posts, Mike and I are in. And she shows it to me, and I'm like, well, now I'm fucking pot committed. I mean, I have to do this at this point. Uh, so, we went shopping, we did stuff through New Year's, and in my head, I kept thinking, well, I'm going to do this plunge tomorrow. We're going to do this plunge tomorrow. And I'll be honest with you folks, and, I told Jill, I go, look, I'm doing this just to see you outside in a bikini in January. That's really the only reason I'm doing this. I just, I'll do it because whatever the fuck, and nobody's going to care. Nobody's going to look at me because the second you walk out there in your bikini in January, they may arrest you. They're certainly going to, I mean, like, they're going to make children run. I mean, every parent is going to hide their kid's eyes if Jill walked out in a bikini in January because, whatever. I mean, just fucking hot. And so that was my main thing. I was just excited. I didn't even, honestly, I would have committed to swim in the fucking lake for 2 days if it would have got her outside in a goddamn bikini in the cold. That would have been fine with me. I would have been thrilled. So that was fine. That was all I wanted. So we hung out on the couch, we were waiting, and then the next day, I woke up on January 1st, and I was like, what time is it at? And she said, it's in the afternoon, and it's like 2 o'clock, and that also seemed weird to me. I wanted it early in the morning, so A, it was as maximum cold as it could possibly be, and B, so you could be fucking done with it. So I could just go ahead and do the plunge and get the fuck out, and just spend the rest of my day. If you tell me it's not until 2 o'clock in the afternoon, well, then my head can spin it around and I can sit there and try to think about exactly how it's going to feel and what's going to happen and how can I get out of it. And I didn't really want to get out of it, but it was just this thing where it was kind of like today with the podcast where it was like, it was homework. You know what I mean? Like you can't get on with your day until you realize you got to do your homework. So, I mean, and look, I love doing the show. I'm not saying it's homework, but at the same time, when you know you have to do it, you changes the way you look at things. So that's how it was with the plunge. I'm like, well, I can't enjoy the first, day of the year until I do this plunge, but now I can't do this plunge till 2 o'clock in the fucking afternoon. And in reality, I could have gone myself to the fucking lake and done it anytime I wanted. I mean, I didn't need to be there with a goddamn crowd. But I said to Jill, what time are we going? And she said, it's at 2 o'clock. I said, great. So we got up and we spent the morning at the house and we were puttering around and I'm getting ready and she takes a shower and she gets out of the shower and and she's like, you need to take a shower? I go, no. I go, I'm not going to take a shower until I get out of the ice bath. I go, what are you doing? Why'd you take a shower? And she's like, well, I don't think I'm going to do it. I said, what? She goes, yeah, I just, it doesn't make sense to me. I don't think I'm going to do it. And I said, so you're chickening out? She goes, well, I'm not really chickening out. And I said, well, what would you call it? She goes, well, I just don't want to do it. It just doesn't seem like, and I go, you've said that you wanted to do it for years. And she's like, yeah, I do. And I go, so then throw on a bikini and let's do this. Just come with me and we'll do it. And she goes, well, you're still doing it. I go, whoa, hold on a second. You're out, but I'm still in? She goes, yeah, you have to do it. And that doesn't seem fair to me, but at the same time, I mean, I was committed. I was doing it anyway. And dude, she wrote on Facebook, Mike and I are in. Isn't that like a binding contract these days? If you write something on Facebook, shouldn't that somehow make you legally bound to do whatever it is you wrote on the wall? So I kind of looked at her. I'm like, you wrote that you were going to do it. She's like, yeah, well, I'll tell Kurt when we see him that I couldn't do it. And she goes, but you have to do it. Come on, it'll be so fun. And I'm like, I said, all right, fuck. I go, fuck, I'm in. I go, I wasn't the one thinking of getting out. I mean, I'm not going to back out now. We're doing this. So, I was trying to figure out what to wear, and I have, when we went to a game and it was really cold, so I bought like compression pants, like those really long, but they're skin tight type of pants, and then I had swim trunks, and then I had like a compression shirt to wear, and I just went, you know what? I saw those things and I went, fuck that, dude. If you're doing this, you're doing it the right way, and you're wearing as little as fucking possible. So I have these like shower shoes that I wear in the steam room and swim trunks. That was it. That was all I wore. And we went down to the bar. Of course it's in a bar. It's Wisconsin. But there's a bar right on the water, and that's kind of the headquarters of the plunge. So we went down there, and I wore my goofy Packer pants, and I wore a hoodie, and I wore a Bears hat. And it was freezing cold outside, but I didn't give a fuck. And we show up, and we're in the bar. And the bar was packed because people are watching the Wisconsin Badgers play in this, like the Peach Bowl or the Citrus Bowl or whatever the fuck. And we walk in, and Jill got a beer, and we hung out, and we met her friend Debbie, and Debbie's boyfriend Steve was there, and we just had a good time. We hung out and talked, and she's like telling Debbie, because Debbie's done the plunge before too, and so Debbie's giving me all this advice on how to handle it, and I'm just like, and she's like, well, you do this, you do that, and I'm just like, dude, I'm just gonna get in the water. Literally, I'm gonna get in the water and get out of the water. That's what I'm gonna do. She's like, well, you know, you got to be careful, and because people are gonna be running. I go, yeah, I know, I'm good. But it was cool of her to, give me advice because she'd done it before, and she's done it a few times. Or no, she did it twice before, but she got real sick. So she's telling me that story, which doesn't fucking help. And then it came time to do it, and we walked outside. I signed the book because they had the Port Washington Plunge book, and they had a sign, like this rickety sign that looks like they've had it forever. And they actually like crossed out. It was like 2000, and they crossed out whatever it said and put 15. I mean, I don't even know when this sign was from. And they started to do like a countdown. And as I was out there, I was like, I went outside and I got undressed outside. I took off my sweatpants and I took off, shoes and socks, put on the shower shoes. And I was in fucking swim trunks. And I look around and all these other people are like, they're wearing compression pants and they're wearing shorts and wearing long sleeves. And I'm like, fuck that, man. If I'm doing it, I am doing it. So, we started to walk up to the shore, and as I was walking and approaching the shore, they were doing the countdown. They're like 3, 2, 1, and everybody goes running into the water. I'm not even at the shore yet, so I had a plan, like where I was just gonna try to badass it and walk into the water, like all tough, like an idiot, because I thought it would be funny, like maybe do a stew look, but I got caught up in the moment because everybody started running in and I didn't want to be caught behind because I guess they had 2 different shifts. So like the first people do it and then they have like a break and then a second shift of people do it. And I did not want to get caught in the second shift. I'm like, fuck that. I'm doing it with the first people. So they said 3, 2, 1 and I wasn't even at the shore and people started running in and I was like, fuck this. So I sprinted like over rocky terrain and fucking torn up grass, and I'm running through people in fucking swim trunks. That's all I have on. And other people are already running out of the water as I hit the shore, and there's fucking ice everywhere, so I had to go slow so I don't go ass up, because that's the last thing I wanted to do is go fucking ass up and hit my head on the ice and be a fucking spectacle. It's already bad enough that I'm 6'2", 255, and I'm running into the water in nothing but swim trunks. But that's what I did, man. I sprinted. As people were running in, I'm zigzagging and trying to get away from them. And a lot of people just ran out there, but I said, fuck it. I ran all the way to where it was the deepest, and then I just dove in, just fucking plunged, went under the water and hung out there for like a couple of seconds, and then jumped right out of the water and then immediately sprinted out. Because I'll tell you what, the water's cold, all right? But you don't feel cold until you get out of the water. As I'm sure you know this, you get your adrenaline pumping and stuff. But once you get into water, you can get used to it pretty quick. But I started to walk, kind of jog or run out of the water back toward the shore. And I was the last guy in. And I'm getting to the shore. And I'm soaked. My hair's all wet and stuff. And once I got out of the water, that's when you felt the needles. Like all of a sudden the wind felt like it was stabbing my face and stabbing my legs. And it was just... and it didn't hurt. It wasn't bad. It's kind of what I expected. You know what I mean? I wasn't in pain or anything, and I didn't regret it. But once I got out of the water, I walked up, and there's Jill, and Jill came running up, and she had brought a blanket and two towels and stuff. And it's funny, I joke around all the time with Jill, and I tell her, I go, I'm not really a man. I'm not a guy. I tell that to you guys too. I'm half a lady or whatever the fuck. But I'm still, like, I don't get hurt a lot, and I don't get sick a lot, and I don't think I'm tough. I don't know how to explain it. Like, but I may have a hardier constitution than I've convinced you guys and Jill that I am. Because when I got out of the water, she wrapped me in towels, which was great. And then she said, "No, the blanket's in the car. Are you all right, honey?" And I said, "I'm fine." And then she's like, "I'm so proud of you." And she hugged me, which was awesome. And but she was really worried about me. And she's like, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" And I go, "Yeah, honey, I'm fine. I'm good." And we went inside to the bar. I grabbed my stuff and we walked in, and I was just, a second I got out of the water, of course, I'm just like, that's right, because I'm an idiot. That's what I'm talking about. And she hugged me, and Debbie was congratulating me, and we walked out, and we got into the bar, and it's so funny because it's a blur, man. You're freezing, and there's needles, and it's just cold. And we get into the bar, and I go into the restroom, and there's one guy already in there changing, and he's kind of monopolized the main area. So I just grabbed a stall, and I jumped in, and I'll tell you what, that was one of the things too, is they're warning me. They're like, hey, this section of the lake is where all the geese and the ducks go. So like the bottom of the fucking lake is all muck and goose shit. And I'm just like, well, thanks for telling me this now. I'm sure it's all frozen. but it wasn't that frozen. I mean, it was pretty mucky and real soft and kind of ugh. And so then when I get into the restroom, I see for real. I will tell you this. You know, I didn't give a fuck what I was going to do in the water. I mean, I wasn't worried about cold or anything. My greatest fear was stepping barefoot on the restroom floor. I think you guys know that about me. Like, I had no interest in it at all. So I'm trying to change my clothes and keep my balance while also not stepping on the goddamn restroom floor barefoot. Because if I did, I just cut my foot off. Honestly, I don't ever want to step on a men's room floor barefoot. I don't want, it's just disgusting. I don't even want to use a men's room when I'm dressed. But then to go in there in fucking swim trunks and I'm dripping all over and I'm trying to change clothes and get naked and it's just a fucking, what a whiff. So, but I'm changing and I was able to do it. There was like that fucking handicap guy bar, so I was able to hold on to that and put on socks and shoes. But when I took off my little fucking steam room shoes, my little slip-on like surf shoes, they were filled with like gunk, like this black stuff from the bottom of the lake because it just, you know, when you're running, it's kicking up and it's getting into your shoes, and it was in my hair. You know, I just because I reached up to slick my hair back and it was in my hand, and I'm like, oh, dude, I am just. You know, they say polar bear plunge, but it was more like a goose shit plunge. That's exactly what it was. I just dove into a big fucking cold pile of goose shit, a cold pool of goose shit. That's what it was. And so I started, you know, I toweled off as best I could and wiped it all off, and I got dressed. And the one dude was talking. I guess he does it every year. He was a young guy. And these old men kept coming in. They're like, "Oh, you guys are so brave. Good for you guys. We saw you through the window. It was awesome." And he's like, "Yeah, you know, I do it every year." And they're like, "It was cold last year." And he goes, "Yeah, it wasn't so cold this year." And I'm like, "Fuck that. It was cold this year. I mean, maybe last year was colder, but quit being all tough. It was fucking cold, man." And then the one guy goes, "Well, I'll tell you what. You guys certainly do. You got a lot of balls to do something like that. You got bigger balls than me." And I was in the stall, and I just went, "Not anymore." And I thankfully got a laugh from the old men and that young dude because it was just like, you jump into a fucking 15-degree lake in 20-degree temperatures, you're gonna find yourself looking for some things that you brought in there before. Once you get out, you're like, "Hey, I thought I brought my balls with me. Didn't I bring my balls? I thought I did. I don't know where they are. Oh, wait, hold on, hold on. There they are in my throat. I got to go ahead and do something to get them to sink back down." But it wasn't nearly as bad as I thought it would because once I got dressed in regular clothes and got out of the fucking wet trunks, I walked into the bar to meet Jill and I was fine. Like, I mean, you know, granted things were shrunk but they gradually thawed out, which was good. But yeah, man, it was fun. And I knew I was gonna fucking do it. I was mad that she chickened out. And then the best part is like she put up all these pictures on Facebook of us there and then us drinking hot chocolate and all these different things. And then she put on the you know on the pictures, you know, on Facebook, and then someone wrote, "Hey, where's Jill? Hey, didn't Jill do this? Hey, why didn't Jill do it?" Like they kept busting her balls, and it made me laugh because she was just like, "No, I'm so mad. Like I should have done it. I should have done it." I go, "Yeah, you should have fucking done it. You should have absolutely done it." I go, "You know you're doing it next year." She goes, "Yeah, I'm definitely doing it next year." And I go, I know there's no way she's gonna do it next year because you know, by that point we'll be living here in California, and what are we gonna do? Fly back for the polar bear plunge? Fuck all that. And then I found out they had a polar bear plunge in Venice Beach, and I mean it's like it was 50 here. I mean that's not the same deal, right? The guys out there would be fucking laughing at people out here. Although it's the ocean, so there's not a lot of goose shit in it, which is good. Hold on, checking the chunk. You know what? I should send this chunk. You know, and I should probably stop telling you that I'm sending the chunk because now you know what I'm breaking up and what I'm stopping. But what the fuck? I've already let you peek behind the curtain so much. It's disgusting. All right. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. Checking the chunk. Bye. Hi. Back for another chunk. We've sent the chunk. We were checking the chunk and then we sent the chunk, but we don't wait to see if the chunk has arrived. I'm hoping that Lily's getting the chunks intact. And it's not like she can miss them. You know, she's bedridden, for fuck's sake. She's laying there in traction with her ankles up, and all she's doing is waiting for a chunk to fall on her. She's there waiting for my chunks. She's laying in her queen-size bed, waiting for my chunks to fall on her so she can assemble them into some sort of semblance of a show. And you know, why wouldn't you? Isn't that what you want to do when you've had a long-ass career in radio and burlesque and you're a successful producer? Wouldn't you wait for some maniac to send you chunks from his phone so you could stitch them together into a crazy kilt of nonsense? Crazy kilt? How about a crazy quilt of nonsense? A crazy kilt would be fun because a crazy quilt is just like a bunch of patchwork stuff. Dude, that would be a fun. If I was Scottish, that would be my family crest. It would be like a crazy kilt. It would just be a bunch of different fucking patterns. Because isn't tartan like a whole bunch of different patterns? Well, mine would just be all over the fucking place. I would take a little from every single different tartan pattern that I possibly could, and I'd make a crazy kilt with crazy glue. No, I would not use crazy glue because that would probably not go well with my kilt. So I said I was just going to plod along and tell you and state one narrative, and here we are, 2 chunks in, and I haven't even gotten. And this is dangerous because normally I do the show and then I call Max and I'm like, dude, here's what I talked about. Let's see what the artwork is. Well, because I sat around like a dumb fuck today and I didn't exactly get to starting, I tried to figure out what I was going to talk about. And this is what I said earlier. I was talking to Jill, and I said to her, I go, I don't know. And I'm so stupid. I always think, I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to talk about. And then here we are 2 chunks in, and we talked about the polar bear thing, and but now Jill was like, there's something you never really talked about on the show. You always talk about, you're going to mention it. And I said, well, what? She goes, the movie you did. I said, the one in Louisiana? I said, I talked about that. She goes, no. And, folks, let's be honest. I don't have an extensive movie career. So I immediately knew that she was talking about BASEketball, which was a film that I was in a million years ago. And so I said, I'm like, you know what? I go, yeah, I guess I kind of haven't really talked about it. I've sort of vaguely talked about it, but I haven't really gone in any real detail. And so tonight, what I was going to do was I was just going to start talking about that. But here we are, 2 chunks in, and we got distracted. Well, I had talked to Max and told him, you know what, I don't know what the show is yet, but I know I'm going to be talking about BASEketball. And so we tried to figure out what the artwork would be, and I still haven't seen it yet, I should tell you that. But now I find myself 2 chunks in, and I'm like, you know what, I could kind of wrap up the show here, but but now I can't. See, that's the dangerous part because I'm going to have artwork that has something to do with BASEketball. And I couldn't possibly just skip it. I could give you guys like some bullshit speech and be like, well, I want to talk about it next week. But I mean, Max would fucking stab me because the man, he commits his time. And we talked about it. We hashed it out. And we found out what kind of fucking artwork to do. And he came up with a brilliant idea. I'm like, great. I can't wait to see it. And then I would not talk about it on the show. That would be fucking terrible. Because I would still use it and then say like next week you got to do another thing of artwork like this. So, sorry, I'm yawning. So I can't do that. So I will just try to plow through here and tell you about my experience working on baseball. And it's good to do this, actually, because this will sound stupid because it's all resolutions and New Year's and stuff, but I'm trying to clean my life up. There are a lot of loose ends that I still have out there. And I've kind of alluded to them. That's why I'm seeing lawyers and I'm talking to people. And, my house needs to be cleaned out. I mean, before I went to see Jill this past trip, I was going to bring a bunch of DVDs because I wanted her to watch movies with me. So I thought I knew where they were. And then when it came time to leave, like 15 minutes before I was going to go, I went to go grab them and just throw them in my suitcase, and they weren't where I thought they were. So I had to tear my house apart looking for my box of DVDs. And when I did that, I went into my front closet in my divorced guy apartment, and I went into my bedroom closet in my divorced guy bedroom, and I tried to find DVDs, and I tore everything apart. And it just dawned on me, I'm like, even now I have too much stuff. Even though I have nothing, I who have nothing, I still have too much stuff. My kitchen... I got saucepans and frying pans and all sorts of bullshit that I'll never use. I've got Tupperware and plastic bowls that I won't. What do I need? I need 2 plates. I need 2 glasses. I need, some forks, some spoons, some knives. I have awesome knives and a Vitamix. It's really all I need. I could make shit in the Vitamix and then eat it out of there with the knives. I mean, that's fine. But I got all sorts of stuff that I got to get rid of. And I got to take to Goodwill or I got to toss out, whatever the fuck I decide to do with it. But it really, when I looked at my apartment, and I should tell you, I found the DVDs finally. Of course, it was the last box I found. It was on the bottom of a stack in my front closet. And this is after I'd torn out the bedroom and everything else. And so I finally found them, and I dug out, and our friend Erica, a friend of the show, Erica, who, by the way, gave me a Christmas gift. And not only gave me a Christmas gift, but gave Jill a Christmas gift and gave Lily and David Christmas gifts. And I will tell you this, she got us all the same thing, but I have not been able to give Lily and David theirs yet. I mailed David's, and I haven't been able to give Lily hers, so I don't want to say what it is because then they will know. But it was amazing. Like, she gave it to me when she drove me to the airport, and I put them under the tree, and we opened them at, you know what? Fuck, I might have even, did I even talk about this last week? I might have. Oh, Jesus, I might have revealed this. I gotta shut the fuck up. This is what happens when you're talking to a phone in a goddamn living room. You don't know what the fuck is going on. Last week I was scared of a dog. Today I'm just scared of a deadline. So I don't, I have to kind of whittle down the things that I have in my house and the things that I have here. So January is bringing about a bunch of change. Like I said, I'm meeting with lawyers, I'm doing these things, and I'm planning on organizing live shows, and I'm Travis Barbecue, but even that's a little in play right now, and I'll get to that on another show, and all sorts of stuff. There are signs that are emerging, signposts that are pointing me in a certain direction and telling me, you can see writing on the wall, and it's just time, man. It's time to be doing what I'm supposed to be doing. It's time to be out doing live shows. It's time to be out entertaining people, and it's time to be doing podcasts, and time to be, fucking making an effort toward doing the things I'm supposed to be doing, rather than just saying I'm supposed to be doing something different. Right? You're right? I'm right. We're all right. Hold on, we're shifting in the chair, and hopefully it doesn't turn the video upside down. So I find myself in January trying to figure out exactly what I'm going to do. But I do know that I have to get new headshots because I've lost weight. So I have to get new headshots, and I have to get representation, and I have to start auditioning again for shows and for commercials and hopefully for voiceover stuff. I mean, this is all because that's what I should be doing. And so it's good to talk about basketball because it's the framework. It works the framework of what my life is now, where I'm trying to relaunch what I'm doing. When I first moved to town here, it was 1997, October of 97. And I didn't know what to do. I mean, I knew what I wanted to do. I wanted to do stand-up. I wanted to act. I wanted to do all these things, but I had no clue. And I was real lucky that, Jimmy Pardo kind of helped me out a lot. He took me under his wing, and he's like, you got to do this, you got to do that. And I was coached through the things I needed to do regarding show business, but I also needed to still pay rent. And I will tell you this, I'm going to cover some ground here that I've already covered in other shows, but it gets me to where I'm going, so hopefully you will bear with me. Because, I mean, if you don't, that's fine. You can take off and come back and see if you've heard everything or you haven't heard anything, or you just bail and write me an email telling me why. That's fine. I'll understand that too. But in 1997, I moved here in October, and I still had to work a job. So I drifted along a little bit, and I was trying to find something to do, and I was bouncing. I started bouncing right away. I got a job at the Troubadour bouncing. But also I needed to work, and I felt I needed to just kind of start working jobs to make money. I wanted to make an effort and show that I was in this for the long haul. I mean, I didn't just come out here to fuck around. So I wound up getting a job at a restaurant, which I've talked about on here. It was Spider-Man's restaurant called Marvel Mania. And I worked in a kitchen, and I worked long hours, like 12-hour shifts. And the restaurant wasn't even open yet, and I was still working there because we were learning the menu, we were learning how to cook. And, as a white dude in a kitchen, I was so the minority, and everybody spoke Spanish, and I didn't, and literally it was me and the head chef were the only white dudes, and I just worked in silence. And this is before earbuds and before fucking iPods, and I would be mixing these gigantic vats of salad dressing and blending oil and vinegar, and just I would walk out of there miserable. And I came home, after I'd worked there for a couple of weeks or 3 weeks even before, and we did a soft launch of the restaurant, and we served people, and I was working 12-hour days, and I was on my feet, and I was fat. I was so miserable. And I know you have that feeling, like when you work your job or you work any job or you do anything that you don't want to be doing for any length of time, it becomes that much more difficult to accomplish that task, even though you have the frame of mind that you have to do this. But anytime you tell yourself you have to do something, you may accomplish it and you may finish it, but at the same time, you don't find any joy at all in it, in the task. You know, if you have to go out and split a bunch of logs into wood for firewood, you know that that's something you have to do, but maybe you can embrace it, and then when it's done, you can be like, well, there's a job well done, and there's a reward at the end. You've got fire. But when you're just working at a restaurant and you're making pancakes for Captain America, I mean, there's no fucking reward. Your paycheck is your reward, so what? So fucking what? That's why when you choose to do a task, even if it's something you might not want to do, when it's finished, you can find some sort of sense of accomplishment. But when you have to do a job, you just keep going back. The task is never finished. You know, like I said, you split a bunch of wood, then you got a stack of wood for the winter and you can build fires. Well, I mean, I was splitting wood every fucking day at Spider-Man's restaurant. I would show up and do it and bail. Show up and do it and bail. Show up and do it and bail. And I'd be there 12 fucking hours a day and I would come home just miserable. But I made myself do it. I had to do it because you have to make money. You got to pay your bills. So I came home once and I was sick of it. I was over it. This is after the soft open, before the hard open. And I was sitting in a bathtub, and I was in the hottest bath I possibly could. I ran it, and I was soaking it because I'd been on my feet for like 13 hours, and I was just sore, stiff, couldn't move. And I decided, you know what? I can't do this. I can't do this. So at the time, my ex-wife was still here, my butler. And she came in, and I looked at her and I said, listen, I cannot go back to that place one more time. I can't do this. I didn't move here to work 12 hours a day in this restaurant. And granted, I was just in town for like a few months, and I was moving forward trying to do other things, but it just, I mean, working 12 hours a day there felt like such a defeat. Even though I needed the money, it was such a, and I know you know what I'm talking about. I know you've done this, where you've gone out and you've worked your job and then you've left, and even if you've done what you're supposed to do, you leave that job feeling so empty, and a paycheck doesn't fill you up. So I was just sitting there, steam rising, and I mean, I was like lobster red. I wonder if I partially wasn't punishing myself by climbing in the hottest water I could and scalding myself. I mean, it was really, now that I think about it, it was one of the hottest baths I've ever taken. And isn't that a weird fucking list to have in your head? Dude, here's the top 10 hottest baths I've ever taken in my life. That sounds ridiculous. But I remember getting in it and it burned so badly, like my skin, but I didn't give a fuck. And I still got in there just to sit there. And I said, because I knew it would cool off eventually. I'm like, you just sit in here. Just sit in here. And eventually your body will get used to it. It's like when I talked about jumping into the polar plunge. Eventually your body gets used to it. So I sat there scalding, steaming, and just pondering, and Karen came in, and I just said, I can't do this anymore. I can't go back there. It's such a defeat to go there for 12 hours and then leave and then have to go back, and it's just a hamster wheel, and I didn't move out here to be in a hamster wheel. And I need you to say it's okay that I don't do that. I said, I will do anything I can to try and make money. You know, I'm going to be bouncing and stuff, but I will go out right away. I will sign up with extras agencies. I will do everything I can to audition and do what because I mean, I still wasn't SAG. I wasn't anything. I wasn't in the union. I wasn't anybody. So she agreed. She said, okay. She trusted me to make that effort. So the next day, I got up and I went out to extras agencies. And the way it works out here is there are agencies where you can sign up to do extra work. And then you call in the day before to find out if they need anybody for certain projects. You know, you'll sign up and you're on their list and they have a listing of what you look like. And I mean, it's so bad. Because again, extras, as I've talked about in here before, extras, dude, it's called background for a reason. I mean, you might think you're in the movies, you might think you're glamorous, you might think you're doing great things, but dude, you're just a fucking ambulatory chair. That's all you are. You're a potted fucking plant with 4 different choices of wardrobe. That's all you are when you're an extra in the movies. But there are people with delusions of grandeur, and they think that they're going to be discovered. So I started to go around to these extras agencies, and what you do is you sign up, and they take all your vitals, your height, your weight, what you look like, and then they give you a list of. They actually want to know if you have costumes, like do you have a baker costume, or do you have nurse clothes, or do you have business suits? Because that's the thing. They're looking to stock the background of virtually anything you can think of. It's a show in a hospital. If you've got scrubs, they might give you a call. If it's a show in a fire department, if you've got a fire hat and a fucking bell, maybe they'll give you a call. Our boys, they'll call you up to come on in. So that's the whole point of being an extra. It's essentially just glorified Halloween. If you have enough wardrobe choices, you're going to get fucking called. That's the deal. So I went to sign up at a few different places, and I walked in, and again, look, I was just glad to not be serving fucking ravioli to Wolverine. Honestly, I just was so happy to be out. I didn't give a fuck. I mean, if I had a football uniform, whatever the fuck they wanted me to wear, I would have done it. It would have just gotten me into doing that. And it wasn't even about easy work. It was just about being able to call every day and trying to do something different and not being trapped in a fucking kitchen. It was about being closer to doing the thing I was supposed to be doing, even though I recognized how ridiculous it was to do extra work. So I wound up going to like 3 different places, and nothing. I just signed up, and then the 4th place I went to, I believe it might have been the 3rd place I went to. I walked in, and I said, "Hey, I just want to register." And a guy had walked in with me at the same time, and he's looking at me, and I didn't know what to make of it. He's just kind of staring at me. So they brought out the forms, and he walks over and he goes, "Hi, I'm Mike." I said, "Hi, I'm also Mike." He goes, "All right, well, you don't work here?" I said, "No, I actually came in to register." And he goes, "Well, have you done a lot of extra work?" I said, "Actually, no, I'm new in town. I'm just signing up with all the agencies today." He goes, "Well, what's your availability like?" He introduced his name. I think his name was Mike Siegel, which was freaky because I have a friend named Mike Siegel. And he's being very nice to me. And he says, "What's your availability?" I said, "Well, I'm here whenever you need me. The whole point is you call in the morning or the day before, right, to try to find out if there's some sort of project that you could be used on or a job." And he goes, "Well, no, I mean right now." He goes, do you have commitments? Are you working? What are you doing?" I said, "I don't have anything." I said, I'm a bouncer in a nightclub." I go, "But that's pretty flexible. I'm available whenever you guys would need me. That's the whole point, is I wanted to call in and start finding stuff." He goes, "Okay." He goes, "Well, if you have pretty loose availability," he goes, I think I could have something for you today." "How long were you looking for work?" I said, I'll work as long as you need me. Like, what is this project?" He goes, "Well, have you ever heard of the Zucker brothers?" And I said, "Yeah, Airplane, the Zucker brothers." He goes, "Oh," he goes, "you'd be surprised how many people don't know that. Like, they'll come in here because they just don't know what it is." And I go, "No, dude, I'm a stand-up comedian. I know." And he's, "You're a stand-up comedian?" And I go, "Yeah." And he goes, "Oh my God." He goes, "How long have you been a comedian?" And I said, "Well, probably 10 years, which was a lie. It was only like 6 or whatever at the time. And he just went, "Oh my God." He goes, "So you get funny?" I said, "Yeah, I get funny." And he goes, "And you know Airplane, you know the Zucker brothers?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, "All right." He goes, "Well, they're doing a movie right now. Do you know what South Park is?" And at the time, South Park was huge, huge. It had just, I think like the first season had just ended and the second season was about to start, or half of the first season had ended and there was a hiatus, but it had just caught on to where it was getting to be big, and that's why they were getting to do a movie. And they had already done Orgasmo, but I didn't know anything about it. But so they were working. He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "You know who South Park is?" And I go, "Absolutely. I watch it. I love it. It's hysterical." He goes, "All right." He goes, "Well, the guys from South Park are making a movie with the Zucker brothers, and it's a comedy, kind of out there." And I said, "All right." He goes, "And I think you'd be right for a part in it." And I said, "A part?" I go, you mean like an extra? And he goes, well, not really. He goes, sort of. He goes, I guess it would be a featured extra, but it all depends on how much they want to use you. He goes, but I'll tell you what, from your look, you're exactly what they want. And I said, okay, well, what do I need to do? And he goes, well, just fill out your stuff and let me make some phone calls. Hold on, checking the chunk. All right, yeah, I'm going to send this in. All right, bye. Hi. A quick hi. So Mike tells me to finish my paperwork and he'll go out and make some phone calls. So I finish my paperwork and I'm waiting and he comes back and says, well, what are you doing now? I said, well, this was my last stop. He said, well, I just talked to them and they want to see you. I said, who wants to see me? He said, the Zuckers. They want to see you to make sure that you look the way I said you look. And dudes, think about this. All right, the day before this, I'm sitting in a bathtub in my house, steaming, scalding, swearing that I will do everything I can to try to change my life. And the very next day, a guy I've known for fucking 9 minutes is bringing me to meet the Zucker brothers who directed Naked Gun and Airplane because they want to see me to make sure that I look the way they want me to look. I mean, again, when it happened, I was overwhelmed and I didn't really think about it. I was just like, all right, well, let's go. But now that you look back and you think about it, dude, that never happens. It just, that stuff does not fucking happen. But it happened to me. It happened to me. And I've had, God damn it, I've come close. I've had chances. I've had things like that happen. And you know, and here I am on a chair talking to you into a phone. But still, if it happened before, it can happen again, right? Right? So he wants to bring me there that afternoon, and I got nothing else to do. So I'm like, fuck yeah. And even if I had anything else to do, I cancel fucking everything. I don't give a fuck if I'm going to church or I'm going to a funeral. Who cares? Done. Let's do. Oh, the Zucker brothers want to meet me? Yeah, done. Let's do this. So he drives. I get in his car. We drive over to the set. And I have no idea how many days they've been shooting, but we get there and the Zucker brothers are there and they're shooting with Yasmine Bleeth, who's in the movie, and a bunch of kids. And we wait for them to finish shooting. And again, I'm brought to a fucking movie set to be seen by directors. I still, when I think about it now, it's just ridiculous. But he brings me and they cut and they break, and David Zucker comes over, and Mike says, hi, David. He goes, this is Mike Schmidt. And I said, hi, how are you? And I shook his hand, and he looks me up and down, and he looks at Mike. He didn't deal with me. I got to be honest. It's not like he was like, oh, so happy to meet you, Mike. He was nice and pleasant, and he shook my hand, but then everything was directed to Mike. And he looks at Mike and he goes, yeah, he's perfect. And he walks away, and Mike looks at me and he goes, all right, well, he goes, I mean, if you want to do this, yeah, we'd like to book you to work here. And I said, yeah, fuck yeah. I didn't say that, but I mean, I'm like, yes, sir, of course. He goes, well, hang tight. So he goes and talks to the Zuckers. He does some stuff, and I'm on a movie set, standing there, remembering that the day before this, I was in a bathtub about to cry. I was fucking making soup for Mysterio, and then the next day I'm on a goddamn movie set. It's just, I had spent 12 or 13 hours the day before surrounded by guys who didn't speak English as all of us made Caesar salad for the Vision. And then sure enough, I'm on a movie set. So Mike goes and talks to Zucker. He comes back to me and he goes, yeah, he goes, you're in. So, we'll get you all signed up and squared away. And we leave. And we're in the car and he says, hey, by the way, are you SAG? And I said, no. And he goes, oh, well, you're going to be a must join after this. I said, so this gets me in the union? He goes, yeah. He goes, it'll qualify you. He goes, you don't have to join right away. He goes, but if you do get another job, you will have to join then. And I didn't even know what the fuck it meant. I was like, because the whole holy grail was you were told you wanted to get into SAG and you wanted to get a national commercial. Moving out here, we were always told, as a stand-up out in the Midwest, I was told if you get a national commercial, your year is paid for. All you want to do is get one of those. And also you wanted to get into SAG because it meant that you would be in the union and you could go ahead and get the better jobs. So he said, yeah, this'll put you in SAG, this job. And so that was huge for me. So he drops me back at the office and he goes, all right, well, we'll contact you, but they're going to want you to do wardrobe and they're going to have to fit you for everything because you're going to be Marv Grunsky. I said, what? And he goes, I go, I'm a character? And he's like, yeah, you're Marv Grunsky. That's who you're going to be. And I said, so what does that even, like, am I in the movie? Like, because I didn't know the meaning of it. I said, am I cast in the movie as a guy? He goes, well, yeah, you're Marv Grunsky. He goes, but right now, it all depends. He goes, let me explain to you. The way they do their movies is they come up with stuff on the fly. He says they have a script, a shooting script, and they've written it with the guys from South Park. But at the same time, it's a very collaborative effort. So they might think of something funny for you to do, and they decide that they want to use you, and so you could be doing more, or you could be doing less. But right now, you're Marv Grunsky. I said, so I have a part, and he goes, well, yeah, but not really. Like it was. I was having trouble trying to understand it, but all I knew is I was a guy in a movie. That's all I fucking cared about. And so I kept saying, no, I have a part, I'm cast, because I didn't know, you don't want to tell people anything unless it's true. And I didn't know if it was going to be fucking true. He goes, well, we'll contact you for wardrobe. I said, great. And I left. And I walked to my car, and it was just, and I remember the feeling, it was this, and I've had this feeling a few times. That feeling of you've arrived, even though you really haven't. But it was just amazing to get something like that. I should tell you this. I was cast for one other thing around this time. I had been cast for, it was after basketball. Fuck. There's no point in going into that. Let me just finish this. A feeling like I had arrived, even though I hadn't. I knew. There was no way I had arrived, but it was just. It felt amazing. Because again, the day before, I didn't know what I was going to do with my life. I knew what I wanted to do, and now, it looked like I was going to get to do it. So I went home, and I waited, and they called the very next day to hook me up with wardrobe. And, I had to go in 2 days later, but they called me to give me the appointment. And I went in, and I didn't, again, as an extra, you have to bring in choices of clothing. And I said, I didn't know what to bring in. And they were like, no, you come in. You're going to be wearing a costume. We have to fit you. So I actually had to go to a wardrobe fitting. Which is, that's just ridiculous because I'm sure they were just like, all right, he's crazy fat. There you go. I should have just told them that on the phone. I'm fat. But they brought me in and they measured me and I found out more about the fact that I was going to be on the Dallas Felons. And when I walked in to get fitted, there were uniforms all over the place for all sorts of different teams. There were the Bears, and then there were the Miami team. I think they were like the Coke dealers. I don't even remember, but I just remember all these garish colors and all these uniforms laying around. And then I saw some Dallas Felons uniforms, and they had hats and everything, and they were these denim-looking things, and that's what I was going to be in. And so they fitted me for that, and as I'm in wardrobe. Like there's little kids in there getting fitted for costumes, and then there's a guy who played. He was Matt and Trey had a friend who wound up playing a guy named Squeak. I think was his name. Fuck, was that his name? I don't remember. Squeak Scolari, possibly, but he was a friend of theirs, and he was there when I was there. I didn't know who the fuck he was, but he was a big deal because they were fitting him for all sorts of different costumes, and I'm like, all right, that's fine. But he was going to be in a Bears uniform, so they were making sure that was all squared away. But I was just there, and it was just so strange. Again, I can't stress enough. As I've done it since, where I've been in commercials and things. But at the time, man, to just get sucked into the machine and not see it coming. Like I wasn't an actor. I wasn't anybody. I was a fucking fake stand-up comic. Who'd been doing it for a few years on the road, and then I come out here, and all of a sudden I'm in a fucking movie. directed by the Zucker brothers and written by Trey Parker and Matt Stone, who were gigantic because of fucking South Park. It just made no sense, but I didn't care. I just drifted through it and yes sir, no sir, and did everything I was asked. And they fitted me for all, the Dallas Felons costume, and they kept trying stuff on, and I felt, you feel important because they're kind of fussing over you to try to get it right, but at the same time, they're also hustling you out because there's so much more to do. And it was just a real education for me because, like I said, I'd never done anything like that. So all I did was I just shut my mouth and did what I was told. I didn't want to be a squeaky wheel. I didn't want to make any problems. I just wanted to make sure that I, quite frankly, didn't lose this fucking chance. Because, I mean, I've lived my whole life worrying that I was going to lose something. I told you that last week, that where I was going to, I don't want to ruin anything. So I wanted, and sometimes that gets in the way of being good. Sometimes that gets in the way of doing what you're supposed to do or being good at it. You think to yourself, man, I don't want to ruin this. And that's fucking crazy because then you seize up and you don't do what you're supposed to do. But, it's pretty hard to get fired during a wardrobe fitting. You have to be a real cock. And I mean, I'm sure I could pull it off at some point, but I did everything I could to tiptoe through it. And so I did that, and they said they would let me know what was going on. And then they called me 3 days later, and they said, hey, we're going to need you on set for this particular day. And it turned out to be like a day and a half later, I think it was. And I was going to show up and work on a movie. And like I said, I didn't know how or what or where. And it was so funny. I would tell my friends that I was in this movie. Comedian friends. I wouldn't tell my real friends yet because I didn't want to jinx a fucking thing because I still didn't know what it was. But as I started to tell my friends, they'd be like, "Oh, you're an extra," and I'd go, "Well, it's actually a little more than that." And I would try to explain, because nobody wants to fucking believe anybody out here. But I was telling people because it just, again, the story was so fake. I walked in, they discovered me and brought me to meet the Zuckers that day, and I was in the fucking movie. It made no sense. No sense. But I spent a lot of time telling people about it, also trying to downplay it because I wasn't sure what the fuck was going to happen. And again, the guy told me, he's like, they might never use you or they might use you all the time. I didn't know. I wasn't sure. And so I was really taken aback by the experience and not knowing what was going to happen the first day on the set because, it's not like they gave me a script and I knew what to expect. They told me just to be there, and when I got there that they would use me and we would figure out what we were going to do. So I remember distinctly the night before, I couldn't sleep. Not because I thought I was important or I was excited. It was a mixture. I was excited. Look, I was freaky excited, but I also didn't want to get there and screw up. I didn't know what they wanted from me. I knew I was cast because I was a big fat guy, so I'm sure there was going to be a bunch of that stuff going on, but I didn't know if I was just going to be background. I had no idea what to expect. All I know is I couldn't sleep the night before because I knew that the next day I was going to be filming a movie. And not just like because I'd done side projects and small stuff, but dude, I was going to be working on a Zucker Brothers movie. And, I had already seen Yasmine Bleeth on the set. I knew Matt and Trey were in it. I didn't know what to expect. I knew I couldn't sleep, and I knew I was excited, but I had no idea what was going to happen. Were they going to use me one day? Were they going to use me 10 days? Were they going to never use me? I didn't know. I just knew that I couldn't wait to go there the next day to find out. And I hope you'll stick around till next week to find out what happened. It's been a while since we had a to be continued on this show, right? Let's have a cliffhanger. Why not? Let's throw it at you. You guys can get me at mike@MikeSchmidtComedy.com. You guys can be my friend at Facebook.com/the40-year-old-boy. You can follow me at Twitter.com/the40-year-old-boy. You guys can find our friend David Hernandez at Facebook.com/DavidMexHernandez. Go ahead and be his friend on there. But if you'd like to hire him to do some amazing artwork for you, he does all of the artwork and the music for this show, and he's going to yell at me because I broke this up into a two-parter. But maybe it'll be fun for him that next week he's going to have to do more South Park artwork. I don't know. And he might not. He might choose not to do it. He may quit. He may turn in his resignation, which would give him more time to do all of your art projects. So go ahead and hire him through artbydmh.com. That's ARTBY. DMH.com. And if you go to his Facebook page right now at facebook.com/David Mex Hernandez, like I said, you can be his friend, but also check out some of the recent work that he's done. He's building a new portfolio for 2015, and he put up a picture. He did a painting of Bruce Lee, an amazing painting of Samuel L. Jackson. You should go look. Go to facebook.com/David Mex Hernandez and see some of his recent work, and it may also be up at artbydmh.com. I'm not sure, but if you can go there and hire him to do a painting for you, and that would be great because people have done so and they've loved the what he's churned out, because he is truly, and like I said, a Renaissance man, music, art, whatever you need. And he's hilarious, which is always a topper. I wish I was David. Ha! Our friend Lily Von Stupp is the producer of this show. And, although this week she's more of she's laying in the chunks as I send them to her. We need to wish her well. Go to her Facebook, go to facebook.com/Lily Von Stupp, and just tell her to, you don't have to tell her to get well. She's going to hate me for that. So just, whatever. Let's all just hope she's back soon. But yeah, if you go to facebook.com/Lily Von Stupp, you can be her friend. If she gets to you, again, like she's got millions of people waiting. You can follow her at several different Twitter accounts. That's twitter.com/HollywoodBQFest, twitter.com/MNTs, and twitter.com/Lily Von Stupp. But if you'd like to write her a personal note and find out how she feels about being bedridden, surrounded by chunks of me, you can write her at lily@burlesque411.com. That's Lily, Lili, at burlesque411.com.
Here comes the sun, doo-doo-doo. Here comes the sun, and I say it's alright. Little darling, it's been a long, cold, lonely winter. Little darling, it feels like years since it's been here. Here comes the sun, doo-doo-doo-doo. Here comes the sun, and I say it's alright. Little darling, the smiles returning to their faces. Little darling, it seems like years since it's been here. Here comes the sun, doo-doo-doo. Here comes the sun, and I say it's alright. Sun, 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 here it comes. 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 Little darling, I feel that ice is slowly melting. Little darling, it seems like years since it's been clear. Here comes the sun, doo-doo-doo. Here comes the sun, and I say it's alright. Here comes the sun. Here comes the sun, and I say it's alright. it's alright.
I want to remind you folks about the Monday Night Teas every Monday night at the 3 Clubs on Vine at Santa Monica, smack dab in the center of Hollywood, right across the street from a camouflage fatigue store. Go in there, buy yourself a rocket launcher, and then go across the street and get your rocket launched. Every Monday night at the 3 Clubs on Santa Monica and Vine. They had an amazing show this week. There was a woman who took a bath in like a wash tub, and the pictures are online. If you go to facebook.com/Monday Night Teas, you can join the page, become a friend, learn about upcoming shows, but more importantly, see pictures from the older shows. And if you go there now, you will see there was a woman who climbed into a wash tub and got all sudsy this past week. She was there, and it was just an amazing show. I was not there, unfortunately, but I do know it was great, and I saw the pictures, and I pieced it together like an online burlesque breast detective. I figured it all out. I'm the breast detective. What would that be like? It'd be terrible. So go and check it out. Facebook.com/Monday Night Teas. If you go to brownpapertickets.com, you can find all sorts of tickets for upcoming Monday Night Teas events. And also, Lily is promoting some other shows. She's got a story time, like a comedy show. A storytelling show, I guess, is the way to put it. That's going to be next Monday night, early at 7:30. Is it the Dirty Birdie Story Hour? I don't know. If that's the name of it, I can tell you that I'm horribly embarrassed for having to say it, but I'll plug it because I'm a good guy. But the Monday Night Teas is every Monday night at 10 o'clock at the 3 Clubs. Next Monday, which is the 12th, I believe, that's when they're doing the Storytime Hour. That's at 7:30, and tickets are also available for that at brownpapertickets.com. She also has her Dr. Sketchy show that she puts on. So many shows being produced by my friend Lily Von Stupp. If you go ahead and check Brown Paper Tickets and punch in her name, I'm sure they will all come up. You can buy tickets to all of these events and go check them out. The Monday Night Teas, the Story Hour, and I will tell you this is a big deal. You know, the Story Hour is next Monday night at 7:30. I have to say it again, the Dirty Birdie Story Hour. I don't know if I'll ever say the title of it again. But I do know that Lily Von Stupp not only is producing that show, but Lily will be making her storytelling debut on that show. So you definitely want to get tickets and check that out. It's put on by, Lily's producing it, and there's a woman named, a comedian named Lucky Deluxe who will be putting it on, and I understand Sharon Houston, who's a good friend of mine, or not a good friend, but certainly a friend and a comedian that I know and respect, and she's funny, and she does storytelling shows all over the city. She'll be there telling a dirty story. So and that's the thing, is the subject matter is it's a little racy, a little dirty, a little filthy. So go see, some very talented storytellers bring you into their dirty worlds, including our friend Lily Von Stupp. This will be next Monday at 7:30. At the 3 Clubs on Vine at Santa Monica. And tickets are available at Brown Paper Tickets. That Meat Fest is coming up. All sorts of cool shows. Lily's birthday show. All of those will be available on Brown Paper Tickets if you go ahead and punch in her name or Monday Night Teas, and you will find tickets galore. And like I said, go to facebook.com/Monday Night Teas, and you'll become a friend and be able to see all of the photos from previous shows. And that's probably the best part of being a member of that page. Like I said, our friend David Hernandez, you can go ahead and find him at facebook.com/David Mex Hernandez. You can go to artbydmh.com and find him there and hire him to do artwork for you. Our friend Ryan Dirks does the web stuff for us. You can find Ryan Dirks on Facebook. That's DIRKS, Ryan Dirks. Be his friend on Facebook. And also, I'm going to try to do this off the top of my head because I don't remember it. I believe it's Ryan Dirks at littleprofiles.com. or ryan.dirks@littleprofiles.com. I don't remember, unfortunately, off the top of my head. But if you go to his Facebook page and become his friend and ask him where to go, he'll tell you where to go look at him because he's a cool guy. He handles all of the web stuff for us, and I appreciate that very much. Thank you, Ryan. You're the best. The best Ryan I know. Go to MikeSchmidtComedy.com. And there's all sorts of cool stuff there. But if you go to the Joe Business page, that's what we're going to talk about now. We have plenty of things for sale. Of course, we have our affiliation with Tweaked Audio. And thank you to them, and thank you to you for patronizing them and making them think that we're hitters. That's always big. Please remember you can get artwork for the show, signed by me, Lily, and David. It takes a while because I got to get it from David, and then we have to sign it, and then I got to send it out. But if you order it and you want it, I will get it to you, I promise. Year 1, Year 2, Year 3, Year 4, Year 5, and Year 6 of this show are available individually or as part of the Reservoir Schmidt Dogs box set. Buy it and mainline it. That's the way to do it, I've been told by people out there in the wild. Other downloads, well, Schmidt Alive 2, of course, is available. Schmidt Alive 2 is a audio/video package of my performance at the 2014 Los Angeles Podcast Festival. LA Podfest is what I call it in the shorthand. That's what the kids call it, so I'll jump in. But it's video and audio of my performance from that. And check that out and go, you know what, I got to see this guy live, right? Because eventually that's going to happen again someday. It should, shouldn't it? Because that's what I'm supposed to be doing. That's what we talked about earlier. Remember when I said that stuff? So you can get Schmidt Alive 2, that's available, and that's the downloads, and then, the Big Angry CD is available, of course. The Big Angry CD is always available for you to pick up, and I will sign it for you if you buy it through the website. That was my first CD, not my last. Oh my God, that's a warning. Take that. I'll be recording so many more CDs right in your fucking face. That seems mean. Yurt Dirt December is over. Shirts are back to regular price, or at least they will be once I get the price changed. So what I'm saying is if you can beat me into the website now and get a shirt for the cut rate price of Yurt Dirt December, then you can do that still. But otherwise, I'm going to change them soon, probably tomorrow. Or no, you're listening to this, so I'll get it. We'll do it. It'll be done by the time you hear this, right? It should be if I'm true to my word, or if I'm a guy who does what he's supposed to do or say, or does what he says, or whatever. Who cares? Look, go buy a shirt, okay? Whether it's 15 or 20 or 25, it'll look good on you. And if you've ordered a shirt, all of the orders have been filled. I should tell you that. Anybody who's purchased anything, it's been sent. It is on the way. And I had some people not just buy Yurt Dirt shirts. I had our friend Colomona just bought I sent him an Atlanta shirt. I guess I should have waited. I shouldn't be telling him. He should be opening it like a little Christmas present. Although he already got it. I sent it like 2 days ago. All right, who cares? But the point is I have shirts. If you want them, buy them. That would be great. I'd appreciate it. And also, if you are going to buy things that aren't Mike Schmidt related, but you'd still like to help Mike Schmidt, hi, I'm Mike Schmidt. You can go to the Joe Business page and use our Amazon link. And clicking through that gets you to our Amazon store, which will be built eventually. Right now it's just black and red with a couple of things we recommended. And in the upper left-hand corner, you can click through to the actual Amazon site, and then anything you buy, we will get credit for. And you guys have been really nice there. And it's so funny. They're I don't know how it was for Christmas because they're behind, but it's nice of you people to use the link, and it's we're seeing a difference, and it is definitely helping us with the show because you really need to do that and help us out. Thank you. So please use our Amazon link, buy all of your Amazon stuff, and then send me a note that tells me what you bought through Amazon, and I will read it here on the show. Preferably into a microphone and not a phone. I don't know how it's going. I think. Well, it all depends on Lily and, her health, of course, and then me and my schedule. It's hard getting together because she's got her life and her stuff going on, and I got my stuff going on. And it took 7 years for this to happen, for there to be a couple of weeks where we couldn't see each other. She's been remarkably healthy, and I've been remarkably not. That's why I was able to do a show for 7 years. So she tolerated it. But now, hopefully, she'll be recovered from her sinus and all that kind of stuff, and hopefully I can see her next week. That would be great. And then I will bring you the second half. Or maybe I'll bring you the middle third. Who knows? Maybe I'll bring you the second fourth. How about this? How about if I bring you the second fifth? What if I broke this up over 5 episodes? Oh, my Christ. Would you even stick around? Would you bother? What if I just started putting out bite-sized nuggets? What if I did 5 minutes a day and I just started telling the story? Would you put it all together? Let me ask you this. Would you binge listen to me? Is that how you'd do it? If I just put out like this, say I put out the story of basketball and I put it all out in just like 5 to 10 minute chunks over the course of like 4 weeks, would you save them and then binge listen to all of them in a row, or would you listen to them and digest them in bite-sized pieces? I want to know. I ask you. Call me right now. The phone lines are open. Go ahead and get a hold of me and let me know exactly how you would listen to me. Would you binge listen? Would you save it up? Or would you just go, you know what? This guy is super indulgent and he's doing 10 minutes at a time. I'm out. I can't fucking do it. Although there is a 10-minute podcast, right? Isn't it? It's Will Sasso and Chris D'Elia. Those guys are doing it. And I think Brian Callen. I don't know if they're all on every week, but they do a 10-minute podcast. And it's so funny. Whenever they put up the tweet for it, and I hear that and I just go, wow, that sounds awesome. Wouldn't it be great to do a 10-minute podcast? Because I could probably do that every day, right? Just spit out a chunk of a 10-minute podcast.
Literally, this show starts as a tiny snowball, and at the end, the hundreds are dead at the bottom of a ravine. I mean, I get that. Believe me, if there's any show in the history of the world that does not need to be transcribed for posterity, it's this one. I like when nobody can see the seams. I like when I'm able to kind of just, fly with the bees wherever. When I have to actually stop the bees and ask for directions, that's not fun. I just like unleashing the bees, but when the bees have to stop in mid-flight and we all have to kind of look at each other and bust out a fucking map, that's not fun at all. I want to saddle up these bees and ride, goddammit! I'm done.